Since the founding fathers, the love of the land is something buried deep inside of us. It is our heritage, our history, our passion. And we are its greatest stewards. From the smallest blades of grass to the widest of nature's wonders, this is who we are. This is Hayden Outdoors Life on the Land. Life on the Land is brought to you by Hayden Outdoors, the brand that sells the land. Polaris Off-Road, think outside. Winchester Ammunition and Firearms, the American legend. Cool, born in the mountains. Conterra, financing American agriculture. Western Heritage Consulting and Engineering, envision, design, build. And by Greeley Hat Works, we start with better bodies.
Welcome to Hayden Outdoors, Life on the Land. I'm Alan Treadwell, and this week we're in the country's heartland. We look at a generational farm in the Flint Hills of Kansas with tillable acreage, cattle production, and a mile of the Caney River. Then we head to Colorado to tour a waterfowler's dream property with exceptional habitat and plenty of water. Next, it's back to Kansas, where we get to experience an 800-acre property that has been meticulously manicured for the intent of growing and maintaining large pheasant and quail populations. But first, we head to Texas for the snafflebit futurity.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?
Fort Worth, Texas, the heart of the rodeo scene. This iconic area has long been a draw for everything cowboy, after becoming an important trading post for ranchers with its location at the end of the Chisholm Trail.
The stockyards made a big impression on this part of the world. It was the lifeblood of the entire state for a long time, and millions of head of animals, cattle, hogs, sheep, goats, all went through that stockyards into the Armour and Swift packing houses. So agriculture has always been a very important part of the economy in this part of the world. And you add to that oil and wheat, and you have the support system for Fort Worth, Texas. But John Young says, he wrote this in 1926. He said, in the year 1879, I drove a herd of cattle from Cimarron River across the state plains. We did not see a man after crossing the Canadian River at a store called Tascosa. We located these cattle on Tule Canyon, it's Tule Canyon, and camped under the tree shown in this picture. These were the first cattle located on the plains, which is not exactly true. This picture was later made by Charles Goodnight. There were 5,000 steers in the herd. The location is in the forks of Tule Canyon in Swisher County. And there were 5,000 head of cattle watering in that creek. The set of values, the feeling of belonging to the land, all that is exhibited in Fort Worth.
Fort Worth certainly is a one-of-a-kind historical city, deeply rooted in livestock and the ways of the Old West. This unique city now hosts concerts, rodeos, and all kinds of events such as the Snafflebit Futurity, put up by the National Reined Cow Horse Association. Contestants showcase their horsemanship by working a single cow out of the herd and perform various maneuvers with that cow. This really is quite the skilled competition for both horse and rider.
Here's the discussion by Sandman and Circuit County. The step rest by Devlin Drake. Owned by Jason Hall and written by Mr. Rickman Pickett.
I always refer to the rancher as that human being who makes his living horseback, working cattle, providing beefsteaks for the dinner table of America. And I always love this country because of the grass and the trees, and I've been here for over 40 years. Everywhere I've lived, I've owned a little farm or a little ranch or lived way out in the country. There's a feeling about belonging to the land. It's a very special feeling. You walk across it and you say, this land depends on me to keep it healthy and alive for future generations. Farmers and ranchers are the best environmentalists in the entire country. They're the greatest stewards of the land. And it makes a difference when you feel that way, because if you don't take care of it, it sure won't take care of you. And they're not gonna make any more of it. This part of the country feels like home to me. Stockyards are still there. They're reminiscent of the past. They're a memory of the past. You walk down the street in the stockyards and you can go back 100 years. The beer is colder than it was 100 years ago, and there's more places to get the beer. Events take place down there that celebrate the Western lifestyle. So it reminds us of what Cowtown really was. Fort Worth was the center of the livestock industry in the entire state. So we were very important, and we still are. Every once in a while, our country goes through a cycle where we get tired of tinsel and plastic, and we want to feel leather and oak wood. And we're at that point right now. We're doing it again. We did it 10 years ago. And then we kind of got lost in all the fallacies and the fakeness. Now we're getting back to the real life. And that does it. It does that every once in a while.
This portion of Life on the Land is brought to you by Greeley Hat Works. We start with better bodies.
Wrap your hands around a Winchester Super X4. It's light on the shoulder and points and swings as smooth as honey butter on a hot biscuit. Most of all, it functions freely when the north wind blows cold. The fastest cycling, most reliable, best patterning auto-loading shotgun ever made. The Winchester Super X4.
Whether this is your office or your playground, you can always do with a little more time to make the most of every day. Introducing the all-new 2021 Polaris Lineup. Each engineered to fit more into every minute and equipped with the industry's leading on-demand all-wheel drive system for instant traction, an integrated ride command that keeps an eye on the trail, pitch, and your group, as well as new LEDs that extend the day well into the night, because you get more out of your day when you've got more machine. Polaris. Think outside.
This portion of Life on the Land is brought to you by Western Heritage Consulting and Engineering. Envision, design, build.
Now we're headed to Kansas to check out a recently sold property of Stacy Callahan's, Hayden Ranch.
I am Stacy Callahan with Hayden Outdoors, and we are at the Hayden Ranch, 1,247 acres in Chautauqua County, Kansas. 1,247 acres is roughly divided by 600 acres of rolling hills pasture on the east. The western half is going to be river valley of the Caney River. It's got over a mile of frontage on the river. You've got 250 acres of tillable on the west side of the river. And on the east side of the river, you've got hardwood timber, like kind of a wildlife sanctuary. We are here in the river valley of the Caney River Valley, and we're walking through this, what I consider a sanctuary for the wildlife. This river valley is full of hardwood timber. Obviously, produces great acorn crops every year. We've been in here 10 minutes. We've already seen 2 bucks that were in here feeding on this. This area is just eat up the wildlife. Caney River flows through this ranch by over a mile in length. It offers excellent water. We have over 8 ponds on the ranch. This river is a vital source of water. River also offers good fishing. This is a live river. We have over a mile of this on the Hayden Ranch, and there's pockets all up and down this river, and you can catch bass, you can catch crappie, pretty much any kind of game fish that survives in Kansas or exists in Kansas. One of the many features of this ranch is the views, and behind me, as you can see, is one of my favorite parts of the ranch, the Caney River Valley. Now, we've got 250 acres of farm ground in this valley that one of the actual members of the family is running cattle, and wheat is drilled here strictly just for the cattle. The ranch offers some excellent views here. This river bottom is several hundred feet below the actual ridge tops, and the higher elevations offer some absolutely breathtaking views of the Caney River Valley and the Flint Hills. One can only be here to appreciate on a beautiful day like today, to be able to get on these hills and view the areas that we're seeing today.
Now we're headed to Colorado to check out a duck hunter's paradise Phil Phillips has listed, the Duck Club.
We're getting set up here on my duck club listing. It's one of the best duck hunting spots, maybe in all of Colorado, but for sure in western Colorado. I'm pretty excited about it. It's the first time I got to come down here. There's going to be 5 of us in the blind with shotguns, and hopefully in a couple hours we'll be walking out here with 35 greenheads. Can't wait.
If you ever wanted to own one of the best duck hunting properties in North America, this is it.
Let them come. Take them.
If you want to see one of the best 50-acre duck hunting spots maybe in the world, you need to check this out. We've been here for about an hour. We've shot a pile of ducks and a whole bunch of got away. It's an awesome place.
This 49-acre paradise sits in western Colorado's Montrose County near the town of Olathe.
Kill them.
The property showcases prime habitat and is additionally surrounded by the famous Olathe sweet cornfields that waterfowl love, making it the ideal waterfowl retreat. This amazing property borders the Uncompahgre River, has 4 north-facing duck blinds for maximum concealment on 3 large ponds.
Everything you see here is completely man-made by design. Every island, every bit of water. Where we're standing right now, this used to be a cornfield.
This started in like 1983, so.
Correct, yeah.
And the dollars spent, in today's dollars, you couldn't do it for what the place is priced at.
Yeah, it probably cost you a couple $1 million, and that's not even counting the land.
This waterfowl haven was engineered to perfection and took years to develop. Thanks to the owner's passion for duck hunting and help from conservation groups such as Ducks Unlimited, the development entailed digging 3 ponds by the river and installing delivery systems to keep water flowing, along with aerators to keep water open even in the coldest conditions. Islands were built on each pond for the duck blinds, and a 1-foot-deep underwater walkway to ensure hunters could wade safely to the islands. The property is conserved in a conservation easement to ensure it remains intact as a wildlife mecca for future generations. The property's tremendous water rights are what made the whole project possible, ensuring there's always sufficient water that continuously moves through the ponds.
I tell you, this place is nothing short of amazing. It's about 10 o'clock, we've had some snow come in. Ducks are still flying. We just did a tally. We've got 31. We're really short 4 ducks of having our 5 limits, and 2 right there. And we've missed way more than enough to have been done a while ago.
This portion of Life on the Land is brought to you by Winchester Firearms, the American legend.
The American farmer. Resilient, tough, dependable. You're no stranger to adversity, hard work, or long hours. Conterra Ag Capital is here to support America's farmers during these challenging times. Whether it's locking in lower fixed rates or adjusting loans to meet today's realities, Conterra is here for you, so you can stay focused on feeding the world. To learn more about our diverse set of lending solutions, visit ConterraAg.com.
Your work is your ethic. Your handshake is your bond. Your word will outlive you. There's only so much you can leave behind in this life. Make your land your legacy. Landowners nationwide trust Western Heritage with their land enhancement and development. No matter what the project is, Western Heritage will make sure your future is in good hands. Your own. This portion of Life on the Land is brought to you by Polaris Off-Road. Think outside.
Now we're headed back to Kansas to check out a prime pheasant hunting property that Agent Jim Elliott has listed, Hillsboro Hunt Ranch. Well, today we're here in central Kansas at Hillsboro Hunt Ranch in a beautiful property that Jim Elliott and Leo Hayden have listed. One thing that really sets this property apart to me, there is just the entire thing is dedicated for growing pheasants and whitetail. I mean, it's a hunting paradise. It really is.
Yep, Dr. Gary Vaughn spent many years and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears going into this place to culminate it with pheasants, and we're looking forward to today.
Well, it's been a couple of years since I killed a good wild Kansas pheasant, so I'm looking forward to it.
This ranch is located on the western edge of the Flint Hills of Kansas. This original 160 here came on the market, and I bought it, figured I'd improve it a little bit, and then I lost control, and my better judgment was overwhelmed by desire to develop the property for wildlife and for hunting, and so off to the races.
Well, this grass is just perfect cover. Good thick stuff, the wind's starting to blow up. I wouldn't be surprised if there's not a bird in here somewhere. Rooster! And I'll tell you what, the habitat on this place is second to none.
You're right, years of hard work, dedication, and laser focus to create good habitat for Kansas pheasants.
Devoted a lot of my spare time, perhaps even the majority of it, to developing the property. And what formerly was crop ground raising corn and wheat became a facsimile of the tall grass prairie.
The place you got out here, I mean, just walking down through here hunting, you know, the amount of love and effort that you put into this place is unbelievable. I mean, there's nothing on accident out here. You've done it all on purpose.
Thank you. That's about right.
The prairie itself, once it's torn up, can't be replaced. And so there are a few patches of the native prairie here, but the majority of it is crop ground that has been reclaimed, so to speak.
One thing that's really unique to this property and stands out to me is the fact that there's not a lot of row crop on it.
Yeah, absolutely. This place being designed and managed for hunting, not for agricultural production necessarily. You know, you've got that many more edges, if you will, to the road crops. And then those shelter belts help as well. So it's just been designed from top to bottom with a lot of forethought, and there's a lot of pheasants out there to prove it.
It's a multi-year process to convert crop ground to really decent tall grass prairie facsimile. It takes several years to get it to that level. Along with that, I was advised to put in shelter belts, and there are miles of shelter belts here if they were strung, actually about 16 miles of it. That back then represented a huge amount of work. That kind of work is no longer necessary. All of the important things were established here years ago. They've had decades now to mature. They are at that level.
Good dog. All right. Sit.
The grass is mostly a pure plantation. It's suitable for a habitat for a variety of animals. It was intended for pheasants, recognizing that they won't raise their young in it, but they do use it for shelter.
I'll tell you what, this place is amazing, Jim.
Hey, central Kansas pheasants, man.
There's hen right there. Boy, they're hanging tight. They're in that thick cover. Hold on, I'm gonna kill one if a rooster gets up. You know, just these birds getting up here, I mean, there's tons and tons of hens. Like he was talking the other day, everything that he's seen was roosters, but there's a lot of birds on this place, and it's managed specifically for pheasants. The thing about it is every one of these birds we're getting up, 100% wild.
That's true. A lot of, again, blood, sweat, tears, and hard work went into managing this place, building it, and there's the results.
Along with that, deer have taken a liking to it, and so the place is heavily populated with really excellent deer herd. Large animals, even a couple of trophy animals, have been taken on the place. The home place here, I should say a few words about it. We rebuilt this with an eye to quality. You know, we spared no expense. You know, the concrete in here is 6 inches on rock with lots of rebar. Apartment, overhead, steel, insulated. The house itself, my wife and I dreamed it up on our own. We intended to put only the best quality work, lumber, windows, doors, floors, everything in it. And we had great joy in sharing it and living in it. I guess the bottom line is that I've got a lot of myself in here, years and years of it. Every little nook, every little cranny holds a memory, and we've had wonderful times and wonderful hunts.
That's a long old tail feather, Joker, isn't it? That's the prettiest one we got, I think. Thanks for letting us enjoy this place and make a few memories on it. That's the one thing these properties are all about to me, is the memories that are made. And you know, you got a whole memory bank full of them, and I got a few to go along with this place now too, thanks to you.
This portion of Life on the Land is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend.
I'm an accountant. I bought a small property and I knew that I needed a tractor and some attachments to work it and keep it in shape. I ended up buying the Colorado package, John Deere 1023E with the loader. It's hydrostatic, live PTO, then the ease of control with the power steering, with the twin touch pedal design. The loader is easy to operate with the joystick over here. Another thing that really sold me on it was that is no tools required to remove the loader. To me, it's a big investment, and I wanted to make sure that I was covered and I felt comfortable, and Four Rivers did that.
Greeley Hatworks has been making and recrafting hats for over 100 years. Since 1909, our high-quality materials and platinum customer service have set us apart from the other hat makers. We call that Hattisfaction. We make more than just cowboy hats. Shop our 970 fashion line or check out any of our many collaborations, including our collaboration with Anna V Outdoors. Hats made specially for life outdoors. Visit our store in Greeley, Colorado, or shop our selections of custom and ready-to-ship hats at GreeleyHatworks.com. Since 1976, Hayden Outdoors Real Estate has grown to over 150 land brokers and agents offering unparalleled real estate services stretching from coast to coast. From cattle ranches and working farms to hunting tracts, recreational properties, and country estates. Visit HaydenOutdoors.com to find your next property. Hayden Outdoors Real Estate, the brand that sells the land. This portion of Life on the Land is brought to you by Conterra, financing American agriculture.
Boy, this is something I've been looking forward to. We're down here in the hill country of Texas with Buck Reeves, and he's making us some Cowboy venison chili. And the cool thing about it is it's kind of a culmination of all year long on Life on the Land. We brought him down mule deer from Colorado. We brought him down some beans from 21st Century Bean in Kansas, and he's going to put it all together here in the hill country and cook it over some mesquite coals, and it's going to be pretty good, isn't it?
It's going to be just right.
While in Texas, we stopped in at Onion Creek to see fellow Hayden broker Ricky Gomer. We wanted to stop and see the property, but also got word that Buck Reeves, a Texas cowboy known for his chuck wagon cooking skills, was going to be making some of that iconic Texas chili. Time to go.
You ready?
Show me how to do it.
Get your big old ladle right there. Get you a chunk of that cornbread. You gonna get you a chili?
I'm gonna pass.
Are you? Well, let's see if they're any good first. Pretty good.
They hot?
Not yet.
Yeah,
stay on the meat. They're pretty good. Get in those seeds, they get a little warm. We got different levels of.
It's pretty warm. We had a great time while we were in Texas, cutting up, razzing each other, and hanging out on the property. checking out the wildlife that's down here, and that's what it's all about in Texas. Relationships with those around you, from family to friends to lasting relationships with your neighbor. Things are certainly done differently down here in the Lone Star State.
I'm very proud of our heritage in this part of the world. And there's a set of values that we still live by that was developed at a time when we had to depend on our neighbors. As a result, we developed a set of values that created a harmonious society so everybody could get along. God, I wish we could go back to that. But things change. So we hang on to the ones that we have. We hang on to that set of values in this part of the world, and it's still cow country. It still belongs to the land, and we still treasure the land. We'll always be cowboys.
For more information on any of our great properties for sale, please call 866-741-8323 or visit us online at HaydenOutdoors.com.